Good evening and welcome to the Buddy Martin Show here on YouTube. Glad to be with you tonight. Special night for us. Going to join a couple of friends here. My new friend from here in Panama City. We'll talk to Rob, one, and then actually he's Rob, two. And then Rob Browne of SEC Sidelines fame. He's interviewing everybody. Today he had Terry Bowden on the great show. So we'll have those two Robs together talking a little bit about, well, what else? The Panhandle. And Rob Dotson is the former president of the Panhandle Gator Club. We're going to talk to Rob Browne, who's been out here many, many years. I think he says mom has been coming down to the Panhandle for 80 years. So we'll tell you more about that. Then we've got the story tonight is the Gator baseball team. Talk about bad luck. Two more starters hurt tonight, possibly out for the season. How much more can Sully take? What kind of magic does Sully have left? They were down 5-0, and suddenly they're fighting their way back. We'll tell you about that. Franz Beard will be along to share that with you as well. And then we'll round up with Ben Troupe tonight, who's always entertaining, and will have something for us like he always does. So tell your friends and neighbors, the Buddy Martin Show is now officially on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome. Thanks to Brendan Martin for the best opening of all the podcasts. Well, thank you, Brendan Martin, extraordinary producer for this guy, Rob Browne, who was going to join us tonight. What a day he's had. He had the trifecta today. Two really good shows, and one of them I thought was one of the best he's ever done. No more bragging on him. Let's go and see if we can find Rob 1. He would be Rob Browne from SEC Sidelines, the ever popular growing show that you're seeing everywhere. Good evening to you, Rob.
Hey, man, how are you doing? It's been fun. Every day's fun. It's even more fun to get to be on here at night. I love this.
We love having you on. And, of course, tonight you're going to meet a special guy for me, a new freshman friend that you're all about the Panhandle, I know, Rob.
Love it.
You've been coming here many years. We're going to share a few of those stories. But tell me about, you had Terry Bowden today, and, boy, there was some good conversation there. And this morning, I must say, your producer asked some terrific questions of Coach Thompson of the Auburn Tigers about modern technology and modern talk about those two shows. First of all, Terry Bowden.
Yeah, Terry Bowden was fantastic, and he, of course, has tremendous respect for Steve Spurrier and just those wars between Bobby Bowden, Steve Spurrier, himself, the play calling. Those three guys were so far ahead of the curve. And it was just an incredible time in college football. So good that we're talking about it years later. But I think you definitely know there's tremendous respect among those coaches for one another for what they did and a legacy that they left that will never go away.
Terry Bowden, very complimentary of Steve Spurrier as being the play caller of the 90s. He took credit for his dad being the play caller of the 80s, and that's okay. But he's very impressed with Coach Spurrier and said many nice things about him. There was one startling stat, which Gator fans aren't going to like, that when Steve lost 6 games in there, did he say that 5 of them are to the Bowdens?
Yes.
2 to his dad and 3 to him, whatever it was. Or one was a tie. Choke it down. Anyway, so that was good. And then, of course, Butch Thompson didn't realize how much he was into the new modern baseball. Boy, is he using the modern technology or what?
He really is. They're using, you talk about analytics, but you got to look at an average, but they're using a lot of cameras that give, 8 shots here, 8 shots there, show all the range of motion of all of his pitchers, and also giving an award to the player that runs 20 miles an hour
That was
during a game.
huge.
I thought that was
Oh,
cool.
yeah, never
Yeah.
heard of that. By
I
the way,
haven't either.
let me just say it has been a tough day at the ball yard
Yeah.
for the Gators. They've lost 2 starters. Their hottest hitter, Luke Heyman, the catcher, left the game, returned to this thing. I can't tell you for sure, but it looks like maybe lost for the season. And then they lost their infielder, second baseman, and he hurt his hand. He was replaced by a guy who's hardly even played. And already Sully was down to 10 position players. But now, so he's got two guys that don't usually start in there playing. They're battling back. They were down 5-0. They're now 6-5 in the 7th. Still there, just struck out. Still struggling. So I don't know. What else can you throw at Sully? He's handled everything they've thrown at him.
Well, he's built for this. I mean, the Gator program, he's been to 8 or 9 World Series. They're the way Florida started and the way they're playing right now, and they got injuries. But just remember, 2019, Mississippi State made a deep run in the College World Series, and 6 or 7 of their top 9 pitchers were injured. So don't ever underestimate the resiliency of 18 to 23-year-olds. And Kevin O'Sullivan, I know Butch Thompson has a ton of respect for him, and he's too good a coach to look. It's not fun, but I ain't counting Florida out. And Hoover's going to be crazy next week. I think I'm going to have to bounce back down to Birmingham next week again.
Yeah, you were there. You're there right now, aren't you?
Yeah, still here. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, it was Justin Nadeau injured his finger, middle finger, and it may be broken. So Blake Sear came in from left field to play second base, and they brought in a kid who hadn't played very much, and Blake Brookins. He's in there now. So he's patchworked this Gator team together, and they're giving it a go. So it's going to be interesting. I want you to meet a special friend of mine. We're going to share a few Panhandle stories, and I was blessed to be able to go to the Panhandle Gator Club on a few days ago, a few nights ago, Tuesday night. And Rob and I met about a month ago and had lunch. And he is a former president. He is gung-ho Gator. He's lived in Jacksonville, and he does a tremendous job. He and the Panhandle Gator Club do a tremendous job, and we're going to talk about that. Rob, meet Rob. This is Rob Browne.
How you doing?
My pleasure, Rob, buddy.
Ditto here.
Well, I want you. He's teaching me about the Panhandle, and we're going to probably expand a little bit into the Panhandle area with our network. You, Rob, already have the SEC sidelines. You got shows all over the place: Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. I mean, you got them everywhere. And the SEC Sidelines Network, which we're a part of, will now hook up maybe once a week on a segment, maybe a whole show, depending on what we do here in the Panhandle, where I'm spending most of my time. So Rob's been very helpful in that, and he's very enthusiastic about it. And I really enjoyed meeting the board the other night. And I think you'll be seeing more of him. Yeah. All right. So Rob, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say that Florida Panhandle, there's a border war, LA, that, Rob. There's a lot of Florida fans down there, a lot of Auburn and Alabama fans. And growing up as a kid, my mom is 90. She's been going to Destin and Fort Walton for 86 years now. So Memphis people, that we absolutely treasure it. I was a kid when Camille hit down there. I absolutely love that part of the country. Like, you can't even imagine the number of people I know that live down there. And it's just the life of growing up on the beach, going down there for, about 4 or 5 weeks a year and talking college football and getting into it with all these fans down there. The Florida fans, they're not out there at the beach all the time. They live there, but all the other SEC fans are. But I just think that is God's country. I got another friend of mine that just moved down there April 3rd down on 30A, and he's at Blue Mountain And another friend, his business partner, is living down there as well. And they're commuting to Memphis, but they said the more I'm down here, the harder it is to commute from the Panhandle. It's paradise.
Well, I can't disagree with you. I mean, everyone who comes here, as we call it, the Emerald Coast, the beaches from Pensacola down through Panama City Beach are some of the best beaches in the world. And we just love to have everybody come down here. It is a very diverse area as far as football goes or sports. I mean, we have Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida State, Gators, and probably a sprinkling of a few others that are around here. But it's nice to have what we have. And as I say, the only days that are good here are days that end with a Y.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, the number of, God, staying out, as a kid learning 5 o'clock was when George picked up the umbrellas at Silver Dunes in Destin, and all the different SEC, really Florida, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida State, and the Tennessee, and just getting after each other, but learning that's created a hell of a bond. It's a family, and you just think about all the great Gators. I'm going to ask you this question: greatest Gator ever from the Panhandle? You got Emmitt Smith of Scambia. I remember Neil Anderson like it was yesterday, number 27 pick in the draft by the Bears out of Graceville, Florida. There's so many players down there, but you cannot beat being down there in the fall on the beach listening to college football on the radio. You just can't. You can't get any better.
That's why they have Media Day in Destin.
That's right. That's coming up next week.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Rob answers his phone. His recorded messages. Welcome to paradise. I think that's what he says.
I love it.
Yeah,
it is paradise. I grew up on the West Coast down in the Tampa Bay area. And although I left for 20 years to Texas, I was glad to get back.
Wow. Yeah. Where'd you live in Texas?
A town called Lake Jackson down by Galveston, south of Houston on the coast.
Yeah. Near Trinity Bay. Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful down there. Gorgeous. I got to ask you, the Gator fans down there, you've got Central Florida. I've learned so much about Florida because it's such a privilege to be on here with Buddy and Brendan and Franz and golly, Lauren and Ben, so many great Gators. But I love that rivalry, Auburn, Florida, all those years. I mean, it was turf war at the beach. I mean, and it comes back. Somehow it's going to come back again, but you got all these sports. But the players that have come out of there, give me your top 5 Panhandle Gators that in your lifetime.
Well, obviously you mentioned Emmitt in the beginning. Here from our Bay County area is Alonzo Johnson. Yeah. Great linebacker for not Charlie Pell, the coach after him, but
Galen Hall.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Man, off the top of my head, I have to think a little deeper, but those two always come to my mind. But
he's got a list going now with his Gator. He's going to have a contest, right?
Exactly.
Name the top Gators in the Panhandle. He's educating me. Tell him what you told me about the 4 Gator clubs up here.
Well, the Panhandle's divided really into 3, and if you count Tallahassee as part of the Panhandle, that'd be number 4. But we start in the west end at Pensacola. We have Northwest Florida, which takes care of their 2 counties. I think it's Escambia and I forget the other county they have. And then we have the Destin area, which is the Emerald Coast Gator Club. Then you keep moving east, you get the Panhandle Gator Club, which we go all the way from Alabama border all the way down to Port St. Joe. And then the Capital Gator Club in Tallahassee. So we interact quite a bit. It's technically in the Alumni Association where those clubs are all Region 6. Yeah. So we interact together. And matter of fact, a couple of weeks ago, I went all the way to Pensacola just for a little social up there.
I'm thinking there could be some synergism here with Rob Browne if he comes down here every now and then and wants to drop by the Panhandle Gator Club. Maybe they do a lot of things socially. Well, you guys do a bunch of things. Just got through doing their backpack for the kids, International Gator Day. You got a bunch of things going on. I think Mr. Rob Browne might qualify for consideration. You can ask the board as an honorary member of the Panhandle Gator Club because he knows the Panhandle.
I think it'd be good for him.
I would love it. Hey, let's go to the Florida Panhandle and talk college football, drink some cold road sodas. I'm in.
All right. Well, we'd love to have you. We do have some socials. Okay.
Yeah.
Periodically, like Buddy mentioned, we have a monthly family gathering.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, this Saturday we're going to a place around. It's called Boondocks up by the airport, which they have an airboat. So we got a Gator sponsored airboat ride for this Saturday. And then every month we have something else. But we also have socials in which we do invite people to come and talk. I mean, this is not just all sports. We had a gentleman that came and talked about purple. I forget the bird now.
Purple martins.
I think it was purple martins. Yes. And he came, he just wrote a book about it and stuff. So we sponsored that and had him talk, and hell, I had about 60, 80 people come. So, we'd love to have you come down and, and tattoo a gator on you.
Hey, we'll talk some college football. I think that's the funnest part about it is just getting together with the different fan bases. And we try to touch on all 16 of them every day. 5 days a week, and we got Brendan and Buddy pops in. It's pretty cool because you'll be talking to Tony Barnhart and Buddy will pop in, say hello, and it's the way it should be. The writers are your best guests. I mean, you talking to Buddy because they think about what they're saying because they've written it. That's how we all learned, and they can tell the great stories because we all remember where we were when great things happened for our respective schools.
Exactly. You guys are icons and stuff. We can't do it like when Buddy came to this area and I got a hold of him about, I knew he just moved here. I said, listen, no rush. We're not asking you to come speak. We just, do you want to meet some Gators? And I can link you up. So he jumped at it.
I bet he did.
Yeah, sure did. Sure.
Buddy, I was in the lobby of the Hampton Inn here in Mountain Brook this morning. Guy had on a Gator t-shirt. He came over and he heard me talking about Dr. Andrews and I said something about our show and Gator Bait Media. And he goes, I know who Buddy Martin is. He goes, I went to Florida. I was a freshman in 91. I said, you were there at a great time. But I just think I see Gators all over the place and they know the Martins, that's what's cool. And getting more of Buddy in the Panhandle is going to be a win-win. That's going to be a 1 + 1 = 3 deal.
Connect SEC sidelines.
Yeah.
We'll go all the way from Ocala and Gainesville, I-10 over to Panama and the Panhandle and up to Alabama, all the way to Memphis. We'll have a whole big network there.
I'm in. I will come down there and talk college football with y'all in a heartbeat.
We're gonna hold you to that.
And it's too. You just can't get better. That the Panhandle it's paradise, the Emerald Coast, but it's there's no beaches in the world like it. You know that. No. I'm sorry about other places, but they're not like the Domino sugar sand down on 30.
It's just something different here.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, we're going to introduce him to that, and then Rob's going to introduce me to the rest of the Panhandle. So, Rob, I'll let you go and say good night, Rob Dotson. And Rob Browne, you and I will finish up here. And Ben Troupe, thanks for making your debut on it says Rob Gator Dotson. I like that on the Buddy Martin Show. Tell your friends and neighbors how to get us on YouTube and ask them to join in.
I did. I sent the link out, and we will continue to pass it around and enjoy the show. And I did watch your podcast with Terry Bowden this afternoon, Rob.
Well, thank you. And that was a pretty good Burt Reynolds movie, Gator, by the way, Rob.
Yes. Well, you guys have a good evening and go Gators.
You too. Thank you, man. Appreciate being on with you.
David Arnold said, can't figure out how Rob found Buddy. All right. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Rob Browne, you say where you're at, and we'll come back to you. We got Ben Troupe in just 2 seconds. I'm going to tell you about what we got going on with our friends at Meldon Law. Good night to Rob 2, I'll call it. All right. Let's go ahead and bring Ben in here, and then we will we will get him started, and we'll tell you about our friends, the Meldon Law. Even the folks at the Gator Club the other night here at Panhandle says, we know about Meldon Law. We know all about Meldon Law. We've heard all about Meldon Law. So they are very well known, and of course they should be well known because they do some terrific stuff. Not the least of which is practicing law. Sometime when I have Jeffrey on here, he gets to talk, and I said, Jeffrey, you might ought to tell people that you have a law business, okay? Yeah. Just in case you remember. But he is one of the best, and he's a tremendous Gator. He's given time, money, energy to being a Gator at the University of Florida. They have the only official law firm at the University of Florida. So check them out if you have any need. They have offices, lots of places, including Ocala, Gainesville, Williston, Lake City, Meldon Law. They won't back down. And neither will this guy, number 84. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? What's up, Rob?
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you.
I was talking about you today, Ben, with the Gator, and it's just funny when I meet Gators and I'll put your name and Brendan and Buddy. They remember you. You were not forgotten among Gators. This is the guy that was at Florida in the early '90s for 4 or 5 years. But he goes, I've been a Gator, from the moment I stepped on campus. It was pretty cool. But loved what you said about the NFL players and the money and everything like that, how to handle it. You need to be on the financial literacy board of directors that I'm putting together. They need to be listening to what you did. You're like Mr. Krabs. You got all your money still in your wallet.
No. He's got that money in tomato cans in his backyard in Savannah. That's where he got his money. He got his first dime he ever made.
I just listened to my pops, man. My dad gave me some real good advice. He said, you got to kill that young man in you. And I was like, what you talking about? He said, that young man's selfish, man. He want new everything, new cars, new clothes. He said, you want to get that old man in you. I said, what's the old man? Dirty T-shirts. Everything is for a bargain. People hate to see him coming. He never want to pay full price. And as much as I was like, Daddy, you don't know what you're talking about. He was like, I'm telling you, man. He said, help you live better, help you live longer. So I think when it comes to money, people always think, hey man, I'm trying to get to a certain level. I'm like, yeah, but a lot of it is overrated. HOAs, overrated. Gator communities, overrated. Now you got to do it to see it ain't what you thought. Like when I was growing up, all I ever wanted to do was go to Six Flags, and we finally went. And I was like, this is it? My dad's like, this is it? And I'm like, don't look like the commercial. Like, yeah, because in the commercial, all you see is people yelling and screaming on the. And he said, but you know what? It's like life is very, very similar. It's the wanting compared to having. And I'm never ever gonna get mad at nobody who want to do the most they can with their money. But I'm like, dude, at one point I was in the NFL. This when it hit me. I had 5 cars, and I had a 2-car garage. There wasn't no car in the garage. And my daddy came to my house, and he said something that I always remember. He said, "Son, you got 5 cars. You ain't got but 2 feet. So what happens with the other 4?" And I'm like, and you start thinking about it, it becomes more of, you got to kill the spirit of materialism. You can kill materialism, you'll keep some money.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about buying eggs these days. I got to go to Buddy Martin's house for the eggs because I said, what kind of chickens are these, bro? Like, what kind of chickens are producing these eggs in 2025? People say, hey, man, if I heard somebody, hey, it was an 18-wheeler got robbed on I-95. What was he delivering? Chickens. Okay, well, that's weird. I'm gonna find me an 18-wheeler on I-95. And Buddy and Rob, if I send y'all some chickens, it's gonna be from an anonymous source. But hey, they good because that's about the only way you can afford eggs these days. They got to have your own chicken coop.
How do you know we don't have them in our house right here?
I'm just saying, buddy. I'm just saying. Listen, if you catch me coming in your house and Mama Martin is like, Ben, is that you? I'm gonna be like, yeah. Put them chickens back.
I got the Eggman up on Crowley's Ridge in Arkansas, $3 a dozen farm fresh eggs. He calls me easy money.
Go up there to Memphis to get eggs.
Yeah, I bought 15 dozen from him 2 weeks ago. I just take whatever he's got, but I'm going to have to check out and go meet somebody for dinner. But awesome. Thanks you for letting me be on here with Rob Gator Dotson and you, Ben. And it's always fun. You can't do enough of this stuff, and we'll be back on in the morning. But man, I tell you, everybody I see, I tell them to watch this show, watch the Buddy Martin Show, Low Down with Lauren Meadows, Gator Bait Media, 84 Reasons podcast. But it ain't about one individual; it's about a team. Every time you go out on that field, look to your left, look to your right, and that's what this network is all about. So thanks for letting me join on. Sorry, I got to bow out. I wish I could stay. I didn't realize I'd committed to a dinner at 8:30. So anyway, I know y'all will have fun. I'll be watching the show.
Okay, Rob. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We'll catch up with you. Great job today on the Bowden interview.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Rob Browne, check him out. SEC Sidelines. He's does a lot of good stuff here, and he's got a good producer. And Ben Troupe. We talked about money. I'm going to hit you with this one right now. And Franz Beard will be along in a minute. Florida went ahead. I can't believe it. 7-6. Oh my gosh. You been follow this baseball game?
I mean, who
Alabama. They had 2 of their starters injured and out of the game before 4 innings. They were down 5-0. Can you believe this? I can't believe it. It's the 8th inning. They have 2-2 count the batter, and they're up 7. They pull this game out. I mean, my lead to my show, my teams was, what can Sully do now? He's lost 2 more starters. He was down to 10 position players, period, and he now has 2. He now had to go 2 of them. So if you have a chance, I know. I mean, I'm trying to watch out the corner of my eye. Apologize.
I'm looking at 7-6 right now.
All right. So if anything happens, I can't see it behind me. My wife will let me know, and I'll pull over here and look at it and see. This is an incredible win. If they pull this out and Sully's in this series leading 1-0 against Alabama going to next week with only now 8 position players healthy, I mean, what kind of coach is he, man?
He's one of a kind. I mean, we always talk about the greatness of the coaches that come through the University of Florida. Coach O'Sullivan, it doesn't. Coach Cab, he don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Let me say this. He does get the recognition, but I don't think you can ever give him enough because he's been doing it for so long. And like I say, I think the one thing I get about Coach Kev is he's never going to make excuses no matter what happens. I don't care. Down 2 starters.
No excuses. No excuses.
That's what I love about him. He like, look, man, we're going to take the diamond and whatever happens, happens. And it doesn't get – people say, does it get more competitive than SEC football? No. Does it get more competitive than SEC basketball? No. But SEC baseball, ladies and gentlemen, you talk about running the gauntlet. My goodness. My goodness.
I heard him interviewed last week. Somebody else is hurt. Another Gator hurt. Oh, my gosh. Who's this now? Who got hurt here? Got hit. Oh, my word. Another, he looks like he's going to stay in the game. But
he got hit by a pitch?
Yes. And now the catcher, is that Danae who is doing that? Is Luke Heyman is almost kind of laughing about it. He's wearing a sling. So now he's getting hit. And he got hit and he got knocked out. He may be out gone for the season. This team, I heard an interview couple days ago with Sully, and they asked him, they said, well, we know it's been a tough year. You lost some of your best players are out for the year, and you lost a lot of them at one time. And he kind of shrugged it off and said, there's a play the first. He said, yeah. He says, what do you had to do? He said, well, it makes filling out the lineup easier because I only got 10 position players. He made light of it. Yeah. Now he's got 8. I mean, my gosh, what an unbelievable job he's done. Well, let's talk a little bit about money. We watch. Pardon us if we get if we focus on the game without the corner of our eye. We'll keep watching. You got Landon Stripling up right now, and 1 man on second base, 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. So let's see what happens here. You keep us in the loop on it. You're watching, aren't you, man?
No. I just went to ESPN just to check the score. I can't see what's happening. I can't see what's happening now.
All right, my wife will tell me what's going on here. I can see some of it in the reflection of the glass. All right, so here's a couple things. I just saw this note by Zach Abelverdi, and I will give him a shout out. He does a very good job of the Gators. And he says Florida's football staff has increased to 14 more assistants this season. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like a lot to me. Yeah. He didn't have 14 coaches years ago at all, the whole staff. He says, you have combined coaching salaries soared to over $8 million in 2025. Well, a lot of that's, of course, to the head man and his top assistants. Anyway, just keep it in count. You just never know. It's getting to be a lot. I guess anymore, people don't care about money because it's all about, everybody seems to have plenty, man.
Yeah, well, but I think that's what that seems to be the norm. I don't know who started with the assistants and the analysts and all that. I don't know if it was Nick Saban or whomever. Saban. So I think, and the thing about it is the so much exposure for these players now. so many high-profile players. I'm trying to have these coaches and assistant coaches in these guys' faces so much. And a lot of times, buddy, it ain't the analytics. It's a lot of these players, you got to keep them from wanting to leave. Say, hey man, look, just wait your turn.
Right.
Hey, David, I'm gonna send you my address. My wife gonna love that. She's gonna love that. But I think that what Billy Napier is doing, in my opinion, is saying, I just want to be able to be a head coach and be less hands-on. Because you know how it is, buddy. The more hands-on he is, the more responsibility he takes on. The less hands-on he is, the more I can say, hey, I could be more of the CEO of the team. And I know Florida Gator Faithful is saying, does that mean he's going to be less hands-on on the offense? We will see. I mean, we will definitely see. Because I will say this, though. I mean, buddy, and I got to give you your praise of what you said about DJ Lagway from the time you've been on campus. You said, I think this young man could be, a program changer. And, I know it's a sample size, but he looks the part. If DJ, not saying he will, because he's a great young man, if he said, Coach, just let Coach O'Hara and them do it. You know what I'm saying? Just you don't, because I want to know how better of a coach Coach Napier can be if he does less. Because, buddy, I get it. Listen, I played under Coach Spurrier, and Coach Spurrier called the plays, but he didn't do too much, though. Like, even though he was calling plays, it was more the relationship he built with Jesse Palmer, Brock Berlin, Rex Grossman, and so on and so forth. Like, he ran the offense, but it was still very, very, in a very subtle way. It wasn't like he was trying to do too much. Now, because I believe he trusted, not saying that Billy Napier don't, but he trusted his assistant coaches. So I think Billy Napier getting all these new assistants doesn't mean he's less hands-on. Because, like I say, I don't know what it's like to call plays. They say it's very addictive. I mean, I did this thing called offense defense one time, and they let me be the offensive coordinator. It's addictive now. It can be calling them plays, and they making them. But I think for Coach Billy Napier, can he be less of what he's been, but still be just as effective? We'll see. Because I would think that's why you would bring any more analysts on, so I don't have to do as much. But hey, man, we'll see what happens come the fall, or we'll see what happens come summer camp, then fall camp. But $8 million analysts, because that's the new thing, right? Right, Franz? Hey, man, what are you? You an assistant coach? I'm an analyst. For what? I'm third down. I'm third and medium. He's third and short. He's third and long. We all got something different. I'm third from 6 to 8 yards. He's third from 8 to 10 yards, and he's third and forever. And it gets you a job, and it keeps you around. It keeps the only safe position in Florida these days is whoever's the player personnel guy. Everybody else, you know what I'm saying? They looking at you close. So I remember when Terry Jackson was the player personnel guy. Then he went to Vernell Brown, and I don't even know who it is. So hey, man, player personnel guy,
Third down, it's a crossing pattern with Riche and Gaffney, and it's going for 15 yards, period.
Coach Spurrier, the kind of things, when Coach Spurrier played out, when he says, let me play quarterback real quick. Because sometimes he said, y'all quarterbacks, y'all overthinking it. We played in the Orange Bowl when Taylor Jacobs was the Orange Bowl MVP. The touchdown that he caught, the way that Rex threw it was how Coach Spurrier said, it's just going to be a layup. He said, if it's 3-by-1, the guy on the backside going to stay to the backside. The two guys on the inside, they're going to run and hit you. The guy on the outside is running. He's running a deep end cut with no safety help. He got the whole end zone. Why would you fire it in there? Just throw it up. And we was like, that's not going to work. We got to the game, and you could see Coach Spurrier with his hand going, just throw it up. Touchdown. And when Rex ran to the sideline, Coach Spurrier said, I've done this before, right? Like he's telling them, I've done this as a player. I'm not an idiot. Like I know what. And I think for me, you're not going to get coaches like that anymore. You're not going to get, when John Gruden played, what's the quarterback that played for the Raiders when he played him in the Super Bowl? Rich Gannon. He played Rich Gannon at Tampa. And he said, you know why? He said, because Rich Gannon is old. He said, you know what old quarterbacks do? Timing. Everything got to be on time when they wake up in the morning. And you see what happened in the game. So Hey, Coach Napier, you know I love you. Man, just ease back. Let DJ handle it. Let Coach O'Hara handle it. Let them guys, let them handle it, man. You know, trust what you got. Trust what you got.
I bring in Franz for a little baseball update here. Franz, when I said earlier, I just thought this game was over. Up, down 5-0. 2 starters hurt, maybe out for the season. We'll see, including the hottest hitter they got in Heyman. Anyway, so the things have happened. I just looked up and see. So Florida's ahead 7-6. Sully's coming out for a mound visit. What kind of a coach are we talking about, Franz, who just won't quit no matter how many? They can say you got to play with 5 players. You say, okay, let's play. Amazing.
Well, the thing about it is in this game, you better know your personnel. And Sully knows his personnel. And all you got to do is look at what he's done throughout the years. Michael Byrne was nobody, was an absolute nobody, couldn't start, so he makes a closer out of him. And all of a sudden, Michael Byrne becomes the hottest closer in college baseball. Got 19 or 20 saves in 2017 when they won the national championship. And this is a guy in 2016 who couldn't start. So, you got to give Sully credit. He knows his personnel. He knows his people and knows exactly what can be done, who can do it, and give him credit. He did not panic. He did not panic.
Well, the game is over, I see now. I'm just seeing it.
7-6, yeah.
They won the game. They came back from 5. I mean, I'm telling you, I thought this was a dark. Now it's over. I thought this was a dark night for Gator baseball. I thought when they lost those 2 guys, especially Heyman, who's been their hot stick, I thought they're done. They got no chance of winning this game, let alone winning the weekend series and then going to the SEC and succeeding. They just keep coming back. France, their pitching gets better, even though today their starter he got knocked around, Peterson. He came and hung in there, and he got great relief out of the pen. Let's talk about the pitching, France.
Well, it is he's all about quality starts through 5 innings, and that's what he deems a quality start. If he believes that he's got the arms, can come in there and throw 98 miles an hour and just keep blowing it by. So far, look at what it's done. I mean, he brings in Luke McNeely. 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. Brings in Clemente, 2 innings, 2 strikeouts. Gators wind up with 10 strikeouts. You're striking out 8, 9, 10 people every ball game. You're going to win ball games, particularly when you turn it over to a bullpen that keeps striking people out. I think this has been his best. Last year I thought Sully will never have a year when he coaches up a team as well as this one, because you look at what happened.
This just happened.
This one's better.
Yeah, really.
This one is better. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, he just keeps dialing up the right numbers. And son of a gun, this game, if he wins one more, Florida's going to host. I promise you, Florida will host. This is 36 wins. Florida's 36-18. Let's say they sweep the series here, which is entirely possible. 38-18, they will host a regional. And you get a team here in Gaines, who knows what happens. People lose regionals. Florida went to Clemson last year, and everybody said, well, first off, they go to Oklahoma State. Everybody said they're going to lose that regional. They won the regional. Then they go to Clemson. Everybody said for Super Regional, everybody says they're going to lose that one. Look what happened. They won that one too. They get a guy named Ashton Wilson who hadn't even played all year, and he goes out in Oklahoma City. Perfect example of a coach who knows what his people can do. He plugs in Ashton Wilson, who'd hardly played last year, and he becomes the MVP of the Okie State Regional. Yeah. And then becomes a valuable hitter in the Clemson Super Regional. Florida finished third last year with a record going in, the worst record of any team that had come to Omaha.
Started at 1-11 this year. Started at 1-11 this year.
Yeah, that doesn't happen, buddy. But you look at them, and my gosh, I just look at this, and they first when they score on a wild pitch, then they get an unearned run in the fifth. Then Evans doubles, another unearned run. Then Brody Done singles, boom, Stripling scores another unearned run. Unbelievable. Then Done hits a 2-run homer in the seventh, and they win it. Jeez. And Clemente comes in there and gets the dadgum save.
Yeah.
And you got to admit, Jake Clemente, you got to admit, after what we saw of him last Sunday, when we were wondering, would he ever throw another strike again?
Yeah.
And he keeps pitching his way out of things. Yeah. Jake Clemente has turned into a heck of a closer.
Yes, he has. 13 out of 16 SEC games. Tremendous. We got a limited amount of time here. Want to bring Ben back into conversation and switch topics. By the way, we don't even mention a golf team that's going to go to won the regional. They're going to go to the final, to the championship round, and a lacrosse team is going to be in the Final Four. And we haven't got to track season yet. And we know what's going to happen in track season. My gosh, this program in Florida, just amazing, really is. Now, let me talk about a couple of things here of note that we have kind of taken for granted. The most taken for granted player on a football team is the center. It's the old saying, you don't know his name till he makes a bad snap, right? Florida has one of the best centers of all time. Couldn't make the all-conference team, but he made All-American. Jake Slaughter last season, he's done an amazing. He had 1 sack. He allowed 0 quarterback hits. He had an 80.2 run grade, block grade. Is that good, Ben? 80.2.
That's getting it done time 2.
Yeah, and so anyway, he's had an amazing year. He's a block. He's a solid guy. Just what you need in the middle. He has been one of the best players Florida's ever had in the offensive line. He's going to graduate as a remembered as, by the way, from Ocala. He happens to be Jake Slaughter as one of the great players in the offensive line, France.
Well, you could make a point that he's the best center Florida's had since Marquise Pouncey. And Marquise Pouncey, you could easily make a case that he's the greatest center in Florida history. And
Bill Carr was pretty good.
Bill Carr was pretty good.
Oh, man.
Bill Carr was pretty good. Jeff Mitchell was a terrific center.
Yeah, he was.
As well. Florida's had some really good centers. Phil Bromley was fantastic back in the 80s. Undersized and a guy. Here's what Jake Slaughter reminds me of. He's got Phil Bromley's brain, because Phil Bromley never missed a line call, and he's got Maurice Pouncey kind of toughness. Now, I don't know that Jake has the physical attributes that Marquise had. Marquise is the only Florida center I can remember who never needed a double team. Never had to double. I don't care who he was up against. It was always one-on-one, and he won. Jake wins most of the battles, but he's got to have help every now and then. Marquise Pouncey's only come. You talk about a generational talent at center. That's a generational talent at center. And to think that he was the guy that was the throw-in. Mike was the guy that everybody wanted, and Marquise was like the secondary guy, and Marquise ends up being the guy. Mike was pretty darn good, no question about it. I mean, they both make All-America, but Marquise Pouncey is a generational talent at center.
Yeah.
And I'm about to believe that Jake Slaughter, we could consider him a generational talent too. Last year, buddy, I don't know if you heard the press conference, but I asked Graham Mertz, I said, is it true that you and Jake Slaughter share a common brain? He says, you'd start to think that. He says, we're almost at the point where we can complete each other's sentences.
Yeah. What's it like, Ben, on your other team with a good center that, your offense, it's taken care of. You don't have to worry about him giving up sacks. What's it like when you got a guy like that?
I mean, I didn't have Mike or Marquise Pouncey. I had Mike DeGore. He was pretty freaking good. Mike DeGore was good to my solid. And I think the thing about having a good center means a center makes life easy on the other O-lineman. Mm-hmm. He's letting you know what his strength is. And the thing about it is, when you got a guy like Pouncey or DeGore, when you got guys like that or Slaughter, you don't even worry about the guy in front of them. You just don't. You be like, look, I don't care who that guy in front of them is. I mean, and the thing about a good center is the center is the brains of the offensive line. It's the brains of the offensive. An offensive line coach wants his center to be the smartest O-line.
The calls. Explain what the calls are.
But the whole thing about it is he's the one that's huddling up with the offensive line on the sideline. He's the one making sure, because the coach gonna ask him, what you see, what you looking at, what you seeing, and the last thing a center wants to do is be the reason why quarterbacks can't step up in the pocket, because your pressure gonna come from inside before it come from out, because they can always step. So whenever you got a great, not even a good, Slaughter's not even good, he's great. It means one, Slaughter's finally realized, listen, when you go to Florida, man, you don't make all SEC teams, but you make all American teams. It don't make no sense. It's like you don't know what people are watching, but it's that's how you get welcome to Florida. Just ask Rex Grossman why he didn't win Heisman when Eric Crouch won. Anyway,
Hey Ben, wouldn't you like to have been? There's a coach. There were 66,000 people in the Alamo Dome. And there was a coach in there, an SEC basketball coach, because that's where they have the coaches convention. So all the coaches in the country are there. They're in San Antonio. And somewhere in that crowd of 66,000 is a coach who didn't vote for our boy, Walter Clayton Jr., first team All SEC. The guy comes MVP of the SEC tournament, first team All-America consensus, MVP of the West Regional, MVP of the Final Four, and somewhere out there is some worm who didn't vote him for All SEC.
Well, I think you should find out and put it in your book, okay?
I'd love to. I would love to find out who that guy, who that idiot is.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the one guy I know it wasn't. Well, let me put it this way: the two guys I know it wasn't. One of them is Bruce Pearl, and the second one I know is Buzz Williams. Yeah. Everybody else is a possibility.
Yeah, Franz, let me ask you this: I was watching for some reason. I flipped over and I got the Texas Tech game on today. I couldn't believe it. There's no way they'll win that game. They're down 9 with 3 minutes to go. They go on a 9-0 run, straight 3 threes. I mean, you go back and you'll do this in this book you're writing on basketball team, yet to be named. You'll tell us about those incredible, because you forget, man. You forget. You watch it, you think, wait a minute, I forgot about this. They hit that game lost with 3 minutes. They lost the game.
Do you know the play that I bet I've watched it 40 times, buddy?
Yeah.
Is he dribbles into the lane,
yes,
and then all of a sudden he gets cut off by two
guys. He comes back out.
So he just comes right back out. Right. He's got his back to the basket. He doesn't even turn and set his feet. Just turns and launches. Boom.
Yeah.
It was a. I just listen. Before Kyle Pitts got drafted, University of Florida reached out to me. They say, "Hey Ben, we think Kyle Pitts going to be the highest drafted tight end. Could you do his voiceover?" I'm like, let me think about it. Yeah, I'll do his voiceover. It's like, why am I saying that? One of these days, I'm gonna say, look, man, I'm gonna be a voiceover for some of this stuff because when I'm talking to I have a nephew. He's a basketball player, and I'm always talking to him about. He's always talking about SC basketball. I said, listen, I respect those guys in Lexington, and Arkansas has won it, and that's about it. He says, Uncle Benny, you telling me Tennessee? I said, nope. You telling me Auburn? Nope. He said, wait a minute. I said, you telling me LSU? Nope. Ben Simmons, Shaq, nope. And he says, what makes you win it all in basketball in the SEC? I says, you got to be built for the moment. Because all them other teams you just named, when the moment arrives, they ain't there. You're looking for them. They ain't there. And he says, and when he saw Walter Clayton, he says, with the play you just said, Fran, he says, was that the moment? I said, that was one of many. Walter can give you a moment anytime he wants, and he's at his best when we are down. When we down by 3 or 4 or 9, he about to go off. And they know he about to go off. They like, hey, dude, watch him. It don't matter. That kid, that young man there is.
Bill Raftery and I have known each other for a lot of years, and Bill Raftery and I saw each other. This is the Sunday in between the Saturday semifinal game and the championship game, and he and I were just chatting, and I said, and we're talking. The subject comes up about Walter, and I said, Bill, I said, you got to have cojones this big to say no to Nick Saban and then go play basketball and then be able to do it like this. And that's what he did. He said no to Nick. He said no to Kirby. He said no to Dabo. He said no to Notre Dame. He said no to Sark. He said no to all these people. And look what happens. Bet on himself, My gosh, that's what you call that big.
Franz, answer this question while I get my list out of top NIL programs in the country according to this. Read this question and answer it.
Does Florida have a good chance of getting Boogie Flan from Arkansas? Nothing's a sure thing, but this might be as close as you get to a sure thing.
Yeah.
And when they get him, buddy, Florida goes over all these other people and becomes the odds-on favorite to win a back-to-back.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, incidentally, this story happened. We kind of let it slide. This was incredible. Des Watson, who was 400 and what, and he had a higher vertical than John Broome. How can that be, Franz?
Well, Janai Broome, you knew a guy named Doug Moe. I remember covering Doug Moe playing in the ABA. Doug Moe was 6'7" and couldn't dunk. Doug Moe had a vertical about, he could jump over the Stark phone book. That was about it. And Janai Broome, he got his rebounds not because he jumped everybody, but he's got long arms. He just got his butt. He's got a butt that's about this big around, and he got his butt in somebody's chest, and he's got position, and he gets rebounds because of it.
This was the combine they jumped, and this was he literally out jumped him. All right, I got about 3 minutes. I want to get this in. This is a list of most NIL money incoming from the incoming transfers. This is college basketball programs that are estimated to have spent the most NIL money on incoming transfers this season. See if you can get any of them. One of them is not Florida, by the way.
I'll tell you who. Kentucky's
Go ahead. Who?
Kentucky is one of them.
Yes, you're right. Kentucky's one.
Oh gosh, Kentucky has spent an absolute ton.
Ole Miss is not one of them.
Oh, okay.
Ole Miss isn't, but Mississippi State's spinning through like they got a money printing machine.
Not according to this. So take another guess. You should think of one who just got a big recruit. This
Oh,
week.
Miami,
yeah.
Yeah, Miami's spending like crazy.
All right, here's the rest of the list according to this source now. I don't know this. Indiana, 10.1.
Yeah.
USC, Indiana's the most, by the way. USC, 9.9 million. Iowa, 9 million. Michigan, 8.9. Kentucky, you mentioned, 8.8. St. John's, this is basketball now. Keep in mind, remember, this is basketball. St. John's, 8.4. Baylor, 8.1. Miami, 8.1. Virginia, 7.9. Texas A&M, 7.6. Now, let me get that correct, because at first I thought it was football. No, it's college basketball. Anyway, that's what the list is.
And you know, buddy, as much as I hate it when the government takes over anything, this new deal that the NCAA has made, I don't hate to give credit to the NCAA for anything either, but this new deal, if they can get it through the courts, you're going to have a $20 million cap, maybe, and it may increase a little bit by a little bit every year. But that's for all the athletes on campus. Now, granted, football is probably going to get most of it. I can think of some schools that football will get all of it. Then I can think of Kentucky, and Kentucky will probably say football gets about $3 million and basketball gets about $17 million of it. But if they need to tweak it a little bit more, and they need to say, okay, football can have half of it and the other half goes to the other sports. And you're going to have to somehow or another include non-revenue sports in there. You just have to. They're increasing scholarship limits. For example, baseball is going to go to 35 scholarships.
Right.
I don't know that they need 35. I think 27 is a good number. They play in the major leagues with 25, and that's for a season in which they play 162 ball games.
All right, we got to go. I got time for each show to give a 30-second comment on Saban saying he's not interested in being the commissioner of college football, and you think he would be a good one. Ben, you first. 30 seconds.
Nick Saban has made a lot of money using common sense, and he's going to continue doing that because he knows if I become the commissioner, my entire legacy gets tarnished because he knows, man, I don't know what NCAA is doing. I don't know what college athletics are going week in and week out. So I know that Nick Saban is a big name and a big voice, but that's too many moving parts that he don't really have control over. Congratulations, Nick Saban, somewhere Captain Obvious. He's banging on the chest saying, great decision, sir. No one wants that type of pressure. No.
Okay, good. Thank you. Franz, 30 seconds.
Greg Sankey's my man. Ben's absolutely right. I don't think Nick's got 4 Mercedes dealerships. He doesn't, and he's interested in having about 2 or 3 more of them and things like that. And he dabbles in football on game day. I think Nick is doing the smart thing. I think Greg Sankey's the guy that needs to do it because Greg Sankey is one of the most common sense guys I've ever met. And I can tell you right now, whatever room he's in, he's the smartest guy in the room.
All right, guys. Good job, both of you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Franz. Take care. I want to thank all the guests tonight, Ben and, of course, Franz. And then earlier, the 2 Robs. We had Rob Browne from SEC Sidelines and Rob Dotson, the Panhandle Gator Club. Time for me to tell you about Titan MRI and Imaging. They acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Colorio, I should say his name right, Joe Colorio, started Highfield in 1997. He's back, of course. MRI and Titan MRI Imaging now has 3 locations to serve you. 2 in Gainesville, with its Park Avenue location, now the Millennium Center, and one in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. Titan MRI Imaging offers the great service, same great customer service. If you accept insurance, or you can go through their convenient self-pay option. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling with lots of options, including evenings at whatever time you need. Large MRI machines for patient comfort, no ERs, no hospitals. So check them out. There's 4 of them there to serve you in the area. Soon coming to Marion County. Titan MRI and Imaging. Thanks to them. Thanks to Mel the Law. Thanks to your host. And thank you for watching the program tonight, folks. We're off for the weekend, but we'll be back. And congratulations. The Gators come back to rally and win the game 7-6. What a comeback. What a manager, coach, and Coach Sully. All right, folks, I'll say good night. God bless. My wife tells me it's time to hang it up and go to bed. I think she's faked out on me already. So we will see you back tomorrow. Don't forget to read Gator Bait. You read Franz, and you'll get a chance to catch up with some things I do, and it's what we do. Gator Bait Media.com. Good night.